Now, Insulate Britain are at it again. This time they're not gluing their hands to the tarmac or blocking motorists, but burning court orders banning their road blocking protests. Aren't they mature? Aren't these terrorists mature? So here they are, outside the Royal Courts of Justice, as a High Court judge extended the injunctions until the end of next month. National Highways has been granted 3 injunctions banning the demonstrators on the M25 around the port of Dover and on major roads around London. I really support what the agency's barrister David Alvin QC said, because he said the demonstrations are dangerous and destructive. They create an immediate threat to life, putting at risk the lives of those protesting and normal motorway users, as well as those reliant on the movement of emergency service vehicles to protect the public and save lives. But here's our favourite Insulate Britain protester, Liam Norton, remember him? Saying his group has no intention of stopping their antics.
This campaign will continue until we get a meaningful statement from the government that we can trust and that's meaningful, that they're going to start to insulate Britain, which will be the first step in terms of protecting its citizens. As soon as that statement's made, or even an indication that they're prepared to consider a statement, we will be off the roads immediately.
Liam, mate, I might take you just slightly seriously when you insulate your own home, but until then, just zip it. I mean, this is pathetic, Dawn.
He was asked on radio the other week about how much it would cost to insulate the average home in this country. No idea. How much his group's demands would cost the government. No idea.
Of course not.
Said he didn't even care, and then said, well, yeah, I'm a hypocrite, aren't I? And it's like, OK.
Of course.
Now shut up, go away.
But, Calvin, as the barrister says, I think really importantly, lives are at risk. This is not a laughing matter.
As we've said all along, and this is not your Monday panel, you'll get no huffing and puffing from me when you call them extremists, because that's what they are.
Well, I go one step further, actually. I call them terrorists.
Well, yeah, on the one hand, they're ripping up court orders. On the other hand, we saw them just there with a protest sign saying, why is Boris not in court? Yeah. So either you have faith in the judicial system or you don't.
But it's the threat. It's the threat to the government. That's what makes them terrorists. They are threatening violence.
Not just the government, but regular folk.
Unless Boris Johnson gives in to their demand.
You know what makes them terrorists? The fact that their leader actually did say that he would be willing to stand in front of an ambulance carrying a dying patient. So they are willing to kill people for their cause.
That's a fanatic.
That makes them terrorists.
They are willing to kill
That makes
Becca.
them terrorists.
I mean, these are terrorists, Becca. They should be locked up and the key should be thrown away, don't you think?
No, no, I don't. I really don't. I think
You don't think they're terrorists?
No, but I think they're a bad example of climate activism, absolutely. And I
Do you think they should be locked up?
No, I don't. And I think this sets a really dangerous precedent that because it's a cause that we don't like, or they're a particularly unsympathetic bunch, that we're prepared to kind of, take them down a sort of legal route and actually jeopardise and restrict the right to protest.
Because they're willing to kill people.
But they're not. And also the police are there. We've seen, people intervene and drag them out of the roads. They're not going to kill.
How would you feel if one of your loved ones died in an ambulance that was blocked by Insulate Britain protesters? No, how would you feel?
Obviously, that's a horrible scenario. But also, they always say they don't block, but they don't block.
We've seen people crying, saying, "Please get out of the road. I need to go see my granny, 81 years old, who's just been rushed to hospital."
And then moved out the way.
No, we haven't. People had to drag them out of the way. If you
want
to protest, you go down to Parliament Green, you go to Parliament Square, you stand there and protest properly. But you don't put people's lives in jeopardy. That's not protesting.
But we've spoken about the importance of direct action on this programme before. It's the only way to focus people's minds, and I agree. I think they've lost the PR battle on what they're doing. But I think this is a really dangerous precedent.
But this is completely different, Becca, to the Black Lives Matter protests or the anti-lockdown protests. It's completely different to that.
No, well, not necessarily. No, I think
it is.
No.
They were largely peaceful protests operating within the law, and they certainly weren't attempting.
But this is peaceful protest. These are people just sitting in the road. What would if for an anti-lockdown march we decided to sit in the road after circus, that would begin to block traffic.
There's nothing peaceful about this. Yeah, exactly. But that's why I also consider what the Extinction Rebellion mob did to be verging on terrorism too. So.
And to be fair to Danny, he said consistently it's not about the cause, it's about the action.
Yeah, because Becca, you weren't standing up for the Piers Corbyn
No, but I don't think that Piers Corbyn and any of the
police were arresting them all.
But only if they think that they're violating the law. But taking people to court simply because
this is violating.
They are breaking the law.
No, they're not. They're moved out of the way.
But
it's just
they are literally breaking the law.
But this threatens our right to protest.
In what way?
Of course it does. Absolutely. Because where does it end? So what's the next protest that we deem breaks the law? These furious claims.
So if ISIS decided to block highways, would you think that's an acceptable
But ISIS are a terrorist
protest?
organisation. This is a fringe environmental activist group.
So if I said I was going to block the highway to bring back fox hunting, would you say that's still appropriate?
I mean, I would hate the idea that you would do it, but I wouldn't want you to go to court for it. I wouldn't want you to get a court injunction because you
sounds
to
to me, Becca, like you want some sort of lawless society.
No, I want the freedom to protest, and I want to protect direct action because it's one of the most effective ways of affecting change.
I'm not going to argue against the freedom to protest. I think we're all in favour of that.
We all believe in the freedom to protest. And actually, even though I think a lot of the protests over the past year have been ridiculous, as long as they're not breaking the law and risking people's lives, I will agree with it. Now, I might be very annoyed with Extinction Rebellion because I think they cause a lot of chaos and carnage in people's lives, but this is one step further because they're actually putting those lives at risk. It's not just a case of missing the train, it's a case of potentially causing a car accident, potentially missing a hospital appointment that's going to save your life, and I think it's absolutely despicable. But look,